Today we're going to find out what's the fastest production car ever to grace God's green earth. But first we're going to find out what are the fastest cars made by each performance car manufacturer. What is the fastest Porsche in the world? You might think that it is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS or 918 Spider, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the Carrera GT or Le Mans winning 919 hybrid supercar. The fastest Porsche in the world is the Porsche 917-30 race car capable of hitting a top speed of over 240 miles per hour in the 1970s. But what is the fastest Lamborghini in the world? You might think it's the Lamborghini Diablo GT or Reventon, but you couldn't be more wrong. Perhaps the Murcielago LP670 Super Veloce or Centenario. The answer to all of these would be incorrect. The fastest Lamborghini in the world is the Lamborghini Veneno, capable of hitting a top speed of 221 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Ford in the world? You might think it's the latest Ford GT or Mustang GTD, but no. Or the 220 mile per hour Ford GT40 MK4 of the 1960s. The answer to all of these would miss the mark. The fastest Ford in the world is the Ford Shelby Mustang GT500H, not because it has over 900 horsepower or can go faster than 220 miles per hour, but because it is a Hertz rental car and you can't get any faster than a rental car. But what is the fastest BMW in the world? You might think it's the BMW Z4 M40i or i8, but they aren't. Perhaps the M3 CS or the M8, but none of these are the fastest. The fastest BMW in the world is the BMW M4 CSL, capable of hitting a top speed of 191 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Chevy in the world? You might think it's the C8 Corvette Z06 or Camaro ZL1, but these are wrong answers. Maybe the C6 ZR1 or Grand Sport. The answer to all of these is incorrect. The fastest Chevy in the world is the Corvette C7 ZR1, capable of hitting a top speed of 215 miles per hour, well, at least of any Chevy directly from the factory. But what is the fastest Ferrari in the world? You might think it's the Ferrari 488 GTB or 812 Superfast, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the Ferrari Enzo or SF90. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Ferrari in the world is the LaFerrari supercar with a top speed of 218 miles per hour. It's also the fastest way to watch your money fly away. But what is the fastest Audi in the world? You might think it's the Audi R8 Performance or RS7 Sportback, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the TTRS or RS5. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Audi in the world is the Audi R8 Decenium, capable of hitting a top speed of 206 miles per hour. But what is the fastest McLaren in the world? You might think it's the McLaren P1 or 720S, but yeah, no. Maybe the Senna or 650S. The answer to all of these missed the mark. The fastest McLaren in the world is the McLaren Speedtail that can hit a top speed of 250 miles per hour. That tail certainly is made for speed. But what is the fastest Nissan in the world? You might think it's the Nissan Skyline GTR or Silvia 200SX Spec R, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the Nissan 370Z Nismo or 240Z. The answer to all of these would miss the mark. The fastest Nissan in the world is the Nissan GTR Nismo, capable of hitting a top speed of 196 miles per hour. And that's before tuners make it completely insane. Godzilla! But what is the fastest Lotus in the world? You might think it's the Lotus Elise GT1 or Evora GT, but neither of those are correct. Perhaps the 211 or the Exige Cup 430. None of these would be the fastest. The fastest Lotus in the world is the Lotus Evija, capable of hitting a top speed of over 200 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Dodge in the world? You would think it is the Dodge SRT Viper ACR or Challenger SRT Hellcat, but no. Maybe the Durango Hellcat. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Dodge in the world is the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 with a top speed of 211 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Toyota in the world? You might think it is the Toyota MR2 Turbo or Celica GT4, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the 2000 GT or Supra MK4 Twin Turbo. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Toyota in the world is the Toyota GT1 race car, capable of hitting a top speed of 236 miles per hour back in 1999, and it will probably keep running forever because it's a Toyota. But what is the fastest Mazda in the world? You may think of the RX-7 Type R Bathurst or the Mazda Speed 3, but both are wrong. Maybe the MX-5 Miata RF or Unos Cosmo. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Mazda in the world is the Mazda RX-8 Sprint R, capable of hitting a top speed of 170 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Maserati in the world? You might think it's the Maserati MC12 Stradale or the MC20, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the Gran Turismo Trofeo or Quattroporte GTS. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Maserati in the world is the Maserati Ghibli 334 Ultima with a top speed of 208 miles per hour. It's faster than I can eat pasta. But what is the fastest Volkswagen in the world? You may think it's the Volkswagen Arteon R or Touareg V8 TDI, but both are wrong. Maybe the Tiguan R or Carmen Ghia. The answer to all of these are incorrect. The fastest Volkswagen in the world is the Golf R MK8 with the performance package with a top speed of 168 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Aston Martin in the world? You might think it's the Aston Martin Vantage GT8 or Rapide AMR, but neither is right. Perhaps the Aston Martin DB11 AMR V12 or DBS Superleggera. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Aston Martin in the world is the Aston Martin 177, capable of hitting a top speed of 220 miles per hour. But what is the fastest Mercedes-Benz in the world? Maybe it's the Mercedes-AMG SL55 or 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the Mercedes-AMG SLS Black Series or SL65 AMG Black Series. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Mercedes-Benz in the world is the Mercedes-AMG 1 Hybrid, capable of hitting a top speed of 219 miles per hour. That hybrid is certainly not your uncle's Prius. But what is the fastest Jaguar in the world? You might think it's the Jaguar XKR-S or Project 7, but you would be wrong. Perhaps the F-Type SVR or XJR-15. The answer to all of these would be wrong. The fastest Jaguar in the world is the XJ220 with a top speed of 217 miles per hour. Now that's a fast Jaguar, or is it Jaguar? But what is the fastest car in the world? You may think it's the Hennessy Venom F5 or Rimac Nevera, but no to both. Perhaps the McLaren Speedtail or Koenigsegg Regara. The answer to all of these missed the mark. The fastest car in the world is the Bugatti Bolide, capable of hitting a top speed of a mind-numbing 311 miles per hour.